History in an Hour. D-Day by Rupert Colley. Read by Jonathan Keeble. Introduction. D-Day, the 6th of June 1944, was a date that altered the course of history. The invasion of occupied France by Allied forces, codenamed Operation Overlord, had been years in the planning and subject to the utmost secrecy. The Germans knew that an attack would come, but when and where was the subject of much speculation for Adolf Hitler and his generals. For the operation to succeed, it was vital for the Allies to maximize the element of surprise. The Allied commanders, planning the assault, could not allow the enemy to meet the attack in strength at the very moment it was at its most vulnerable, the time it took to land troops on the beaches of Normandy. The stakes could not have been higher. The liberation of Western Europe from the occupying forces of Nazi Germany ahead of an assault on Germany itself, and, ultimately, the defeat of Hitler. In order to trick the Germans into believing the invasion would take place elsewhere, the Allies embarked on an elaborate campaign of deception. The ruse worked, and on D-Day, 156,000 Allied troops managed to land along a 50-mile stretch of Normandy coastline. It was vital also to maintain the deception even after D-Day, to oblige Hitler into keeping much of his force back in preparation for a possible assault elsewhere. D-Day was, for the Germans, the beginning of the end. Now the prospect of liberation from Nazi rule was within reach. The 6th of June was the day that millions of people across occupied Europe had hoped and waited for. Among them was a 14-year-old Anne Frank. On the 22nd of May 1944, Anne wrote in her diary, "All of Amsterdam, all of Holland, in fact the entire western coast of Europe, all the way down to Spain, are talking about the invasion day and night, debating, making bets, and hoping. The suspense is rising to fever pitch." This, in an hour, is the epic story of D-Day. Background. D-Day initiated the endgame of what had been an unprecedented struggle for supremacy in Europe. If the Second Battle of El Alamein in 1942 had been what Winston Churchill called the end of the beginning, then D-Day was perhaps the beginning of the end. Almost 5 years before D-Day, on the 1st of September 1939, Hitler had launched the German invasion of Poland. 2 days later, Great Britain and France had declared war on Germany, and so the Second World War had begun. While German forces then struck Poland from the west, from the 17th of September, forces of the Soviet Union attacked from the east. With Poland crushed between two totalitarian heavyweights, Hitler focused his attention on Scandinavia. On the 9th of April 1940, German forces attacked both Denmark, which capitulated within 6 hours, and Norway, which held out until the 10th of June. On the 10th of May, Hitler launched the German invasion of Western Europe. By the 28th of May, Luxembourg, Belgium, and the Netherlands had surrendered. On the 10th of June, Germany invaded France. On the same day, Benito Mussolini, fascist dictator of Italy, keen to share in Germany's spoils of victory, declared war on France and Britain. British troops, sent to aid the French, were forced back to the French port of Dunkirk before being evacuated back to Britain. On the 22nd of June, France, under its new Prime Minister, Philippe Pétain, surrendered. The dark years of Nazi occupation had begun. During the summer of 1940, the Battle of Britain raged above the skies of southern England as the RAF saved Britain from the German Luftwaffe, while soon after Britain endured the Blitz, the aerial bombardment of its cities. In 1941, the German juggernaut continued on its course of destruction. Greece fell, as did Yugoslavia. Then, on the 22nd of June, Hitler launched the invasion of the Soviet Union, opening up the Eastern Front, which, over the coming 4 years, would see
Sample complete. Ready to continue?